Hey, what is up, guys? Flex Media here, bringing you yet another video on Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle, and we are here in Super Battle Road, as you can see, checking out our boy Krillin. LR Krillin. It took me a little longer than usual. It took me a little over a week to get him done. But as you guys are going to see, it was completely worth it. This dude, he's an absolute stud on Super Battle Road. Now, naturally, per the usual, whenever, this is just like, this is an ancient prophecy. It's just like ancient lore. When you're a YouTuber for Dokkan Battle, and you're doing a showcase on a unit, they always show up in the 7th slot. It's just the way of the world. It's just, you know, a tale as old as time, if you will. So, he's in the 7th slot, but we are going to get to see him several times throughout the battle. Now, Full Power is one of these teams I really felt like when Omega Shenron dropped and he's providing ki and attack, it's a shame he's not providing defense. By the way, 2.41 milli from this guy is quite strong. It's because we're essentially at full health, so that's where he gets his maximum attack buff. Now, a little weak defensively, but not too big a deal. As you can see with Omega Shenron on rotation, plus our guard active from having type advantage, that did basically nothing. But Omega Shenron is really the glue that holds this Full Power team together, and his ability to provide ki. Because as you can see, I mean, there are just like a complete mishmash of units on this team. So we've got everything from DBS Broly to the Go Bros to LR Krillin. I mean, you guys see, like, I actually did bring this Kaioken Goku for a couple of reasons. Number one, I actually have not really got too much of a chance to use him since I rainbowed him out, so I thought that this would be a good opportunity because he is going to share Z Fighters with our boy Krillin. So Krillin does have a couple of attack links, so he does obviously, he's a Shattering the Limit unit. Obviously, he does not awaken from a Dokkan event, so that usually is indicative of him being Shattering the Limit. But he does indeed have a couple of attack links. So he's got Rival Duo, which he would share with someone like Goku and Frieza, or like the Full Power Kale. I do believe the Tech Golden Cooler, he's got Rival Duo as well, which is kind of interesting, I guess. So anyway, but he would share Rival Duo with some of them on this team, which Full Power is essentially his only team, kind of like Omega Shenron. He is technically on Earthlings, like that is the category he actually leads. But boy, oh boy, is that team lacking. It's lacking pretty hard. And to be honest, I don't know what people were expecting. You know, Earthlings is one of these categories. It's like, who is really the strongest Earthling? So I think technically in the lore, Hercule is the strongest non-ki user on Earth. So Dr. Satan, right? Or Mr. Satan. That is a House of a Thousand Corpses reference, so there we go. But Mr. Satan, yeah, the strongest non-ki user, and I would say probably Krillin at this point in the series is probably the strongest just pure Earthling. You could maybe even say him or Tien Shin Han. You know, whatever you want to say. I'm not really going to argue with you, but Earthlings, there's not a ton of strong Earthlings until they come out with some top tier options, you know, like maybe they make a really sweet like support Bulma or something like that. She's the one that really sticks out in my mind. There's not really any adult Bulmas except for like there's a GT Bulma, who I believe is free to play. Is that Bulma I'm thinking of? I don't know, but there's not any strong Bulmas in the game. She's one that comes to mind. Look at that, dude. Krillin, like, the one thing you're going to find out, so I gave him mostly additional. And the reason for that is I did that mostly for, like, non-World Tournament purposes, and I know that he really is kind of built for the World Tournament, but I actually really found him, I found him useful, very useful in this run on Super Battle Road, on the Full Power stage. So on his 18 ki, he's going to stack up his attack and defense. And then for his 12 ki, of course, he is going to stack attack, and then he does that AoE, and he also has a chance to stun. So I really like the idea of giving him that additional chance to stun. And, you know, again, I think that probably he is explicitly built for the World Tournament. I mean, let's just be real. So he's getting an additional attack plus 10,000 per enemy beyond enemy 1, essentially. So from 2 to 6. And then if you have a maximum of 6 enemies on the field, then he's going to get a guaranteed additional super attack. So the thing you could say is when you give him like full additional or close to, I gave him 17 additional, I'm pretty sure, is he could potentially get 3 super attacks, and he could stack his attack 3 times. And then at that point, you know, each time he's got 9 crit, you know, then he's got a an 18% chance to crit. So anyway, guys, it was just, that was the thought process. And then for non-world tournament stuff, I just really like the idea of this secondary chance to stun, specifically again for Super Battle Road and things of that nature, because eventually, you know, we actually will have some better Earthlings. I was talking about, you know, getting Bulmas, but we could definitely get like better Hercules. We could definitely get like a ton of different, you know, a top tier, you know, maybe a different sort of TN. Obviously, like the support TN is going to be really, really good. But there, you know, we have the potential to get like some new Mai's. All we have is that time traveler support Mai. We've got the AGL Mai as well, but she's not really all that good. Maybe like a better Chi-Chi. You could even say like an Ox King at that point. Like maybe at some point they'll awaken that SR Ox King from the World Tournament, and he's actually legit, dude. If he could get potential system, he can't because he can't reach the UR state. But if he could, man, he could be very, very good for a long event. He infinitely stacks that defense. So anyway, guys, LR Krillin definitely built for the World Tournament, but I decided to go ahead and build him based on non-World Tournament stuff. For some reason, in my brain, it made sense. But if you're building him solely, explicitly for the World Tournament, I would recommend doing crit. Same thing with STR Broly, right? So any AoE unit, you usually want to go crit, because you're not trying to have to rely on additional attacks. So, but, you know, Krillin stacking his defense is definitely going to make him really an interesting choice on the full power team if you're running through the Legendary Goku event. I do believe there is a mission for full power in the Legendary Goku event. Eventually they'll get to all the categories, right? Once there are viable leaders, there we go. So here we go, the additional super attack, and let's see if we can get a stun out of it. So there it is. The exact reason why I gave him additional is for that right there. So that ability to get that stun, that's what I really, really wanted it for. I really like the idea of running this dude in Super Battle Road. Oftentimes in SBR, except for this particular SBR, there's more than 2 enemies. So when Krillin starts getting more categories, you know, the one that comes to mind is Saiyan Saga. Eventually all of these categories will have Super Battle Road stages. But they could certainly do a meme stage of like the Earthlings category. Same thing with the Ginyu Force and like Peppy Gals. I could definitely see them doing that, or like not that he would be on it, but they could definitely do like a World Tournament stage or something like that in the future for the, you know, the quote, the meme stage. Again, so this full power team, I really, really like this full power team. And again, it all hinges on having Omega Shenron. If you have Omega Shenron, he is an absolute must-run. So he provides ki, he provides attack, so all of these units are going to be just looking so much better. And then, of course, the one thing that he does above everything else is he's reducing the enemy's attack by 40%. And in Super Battle Road, his impact is just like immeasurable, right? It's basically like having a damage reduction item active at all times when he's on rotation. Which is why it's really nice to float him around. He really is like, he's definitely a solid unit to keep on rotation as well. Like, could you imagine like a rotation of him and let's just say like STR Cell, where they're both kind of passively lowering the enemy's attack? Really, really clutch. I mean, you're essentially not taking damage at that point. You could realistically even run him alongside like, you know, LR Krillin if you're trying to kind of buff up LR Krillin, beef up LR Krillin. Get him a little bit of a stronger attack stat for that AoE attack. I mean, even the 18 key super as well. Now, I opted to go for the 12 key super here because I'm really, really wanting to go for the stun. That's what I want here. Remember, he doesn't stun on his 18 key super. And I use this Icarus item. And here's the deal, is if I'm able to get a stun on Gohan and Videl, then this item is a complete waste. I mean, straight up, because look at Krillin, dude, taking no damage from normal attacks. Now he will, I think we do end up getting the stun here. Yeah, there we go. So we get a stun on both of them, and we do end up getting a crit as well. So again, I can't I've always said this, and I will continue to say this, but any unit that can stun is always going to have a place in this game. Except for like AGL Whis. He's completely useless, essentially. You know, units that have more than a rare chance to stun are always going to be useful in this game. Even having only that medium chance, I believe Krillin's is, I believe it's a 30% chance to stun. So that's really, really strong. It's not quite like, you know, support my or anything like that, but it's really, really good. And then look, I mean, we don't have to worry about anything at this point. All we have to do is basically, geez, I wish I could get a super attack here with Kale and Caulifla, but I guess, as they say, it is what it is, right? And I decided to go for the big shot here from LR Gohan and Goten and just kind of avoid a super attack with the full power SS4 Goku, who, by the way, is a very strong unit. I do want to point that out. Like, I know that he's basically, once DBS Broly came out, his leader skill was kind of null and void. Because straight up, man, you know, Broly's is better. You know, you get that 170% attack. It's just better. But what I liked here is bringing him along because mine has 3 dupes in him. You know, I went over this in I think my no item run on full power is, you know, that DBS Broly, man, is an absolute travesty on defense, man. Just a liability of all sorts. So here we go. Anyway, we are getting Shattering the Limit right now, and we're getting Z Fighters active, and we've got a little bit of support on rotation. We actually have a decent chance of just clearing the board here, which is really, really cool with Krillin. There we go, 1.33 million. On that 12 key super is very good. And then there we go. Okay, so we actually don't clear the board, but we do take out Gohan and Videl, who is really who I cared about anyway. And they're really the only unit that was posing a threat to LR Krillin. I really like this unit. Like, I really like LR Krillin. I'm actually low-key kind of regretting not grinding him up sooner. He's really good, and for all of you guys who maybe are kind of scared at the idea of grinding 777 medals, I'm going to tell you a really good strategy. Use your boost feature 3 times a day until you have 777 medals. It's just that simple. Or maybe you tell yourself, okay, I'm going to go through 1 stamina bar a day. And I'm telling you guys, like, that's essentially what I did. I did a little bit of heavier grinding the last few days because I wanted to make sure he was ready for the weekend so I could run him in Super Battle Road. But you guys could realistically, you could take the full 3 weeks and you could run and do your boost feature your 3 times a day for the LR Krillin medals, the 777 medals to Dokkan Awaken him to LR. And you could probably, I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say you could probably do the grind 2 times. Maybe you'd have to grind a little bit harder, but if you did that, so 1 time every 24 hours, I mean, you're potentially getting, at the very max, let's see. So at the very max you would be getting per run, you could get 40 medals. So if you got 40 medals times 3, that's 120 medals. Okay, so maybe you'd have to do a little bit more grinding than that to get the 2 full, copies done. If you guys are unfamiliar, you guys can grind 2 copies of LR Krillin at SA10. You rainbow out one of them, and then you feed in the other one as SA food. So that way you get free SA. You do not have to use Elder Kais. Now your boy... I did not do the grind twice. I didn't have it in me. I actually never have it in me. It always sounds good to do the grind twice, right? It always sounds better, like, oh yeah, I'm gonna save myself 10 Kais, and then it's like when it gets there, it's like, oh my god, I've already grinded like this way too hard as is. Like, I'm not doing this 2 times. So, and sort of the last thing I would say about that is, even if you only grind him to SA10, I also, in my video breaking down Krillin, I mentioned going ahead and using keys if you have story keys, and do the Bio Broly event to grind up copies of an SSR Krillin that you can feed in for super attack. And then also buying copies from the Baba shop as well if you can afford it. I think that that's going to be the way to go, because the drop rate in the actual LR Krillin event is atrocious. It's so bad. Like, it says, I'm pretty sure the wiki says it's a 50% drop, and I just must be the unluckiest human on earth, because I can never get that dude to drop. And sometimes you can get 2 copies of him, and that's sweet. And it seemed like even when I was using my boost feature, I wasn't getting him to drop, and it was getting very, very frustrating. So I just decided that I was going to grind up his super attack from that story event. There he is, guys, 1.38 million. You know, the one thing about LR Krillin's super attack is it's really cool. I really, really wish they would have gone the extra mile and made him spin the disc around. That would have been so sick. You guys know exactly what I'm talking about, right? When he's kind of winding up the Destructo disc. It takes him a second to actually, you know, kind of wind it up, and then he throws it. I wish they would have included that in his super attack, but, you know, not a big deal. You know, Krillin is still a fine unit, and for a free-to-play LR, his animations are fine. I'm not really complaining too much. I just wish, right? Wow, 45,000 is a ton. That was obviously a little more damage than I was thinking we would take, and that was no items, so I mean, you know, you just have to expect that these guys... This particular stage of the full power stage is very tough, very, very tough. The Great Saiya people, and then of course the TUR of the LR Fusion, Infusion, they're very strong. They're very strong. They have a ton of HP. They hit you like a freight, you know, just like a freaking freight train, right? Mack truck, you know, whatever you want to say. I think we're able to get the super attack with everyone here. This is very, very good. Omega Shenron, of course, providing that attack. These guys are going to look really, really good. And then providing that, wow, 2.56, dude, that's really good. That was a 12-key super attack. And then there you go, 2.71. We got that raise and attack there. Just so strong. The Go-Bros are still so strong to this day. I cannot wait to rainbow them. They're going to be really, really, really strong when they're rainbowed. I know a lot of y'all had very, very good luck on that Bardock banner. Your boy did not. I think I pulled one Dokkan Fest unit the whole entire banner, and it was a unit I already had 3 dupes in. So I don't want to stroll down memory lane. I mean, to be quite honest with you, those were rough times, But anyway, so we're kind of winding down here, as you can see. Now is the point where I am not stressed at all. LR Krillin is going to absolutely wreak havoc here on an int type unit. You know, any unit that's going to have type advantage in Super Battle Road, I mean, it's just going to be very, very strong, of course. And then what I decided to do, obviously put that full power Broly on the end. I mean, it writes itself, right? There's no way you do anything different here. No sense in breaking up the rotation. And then that way we're keeping this Kaioken Goku out of harm's way. Now, this Kaioken Goku is much, much better for like a long event. He infinitely stacks his attack and defense. And actually, he's very strong. Very, very strong against a Vegeta's family enemy. He gets an additional 60% defense and 1 key, which is, you know, obviously really good against a Vegeta's family enemy. So he's really, really good. I actually really like him. I think that this unit in particular, like the 4 times Kaioken Goku, I think he desperately needs a Dokkan Fest. Him and then Great Ape Vegeta. I think that, again, this is probably where they'll introduce the Saiyan Saga. That makes sense to me. And then maybe you make a really, really good support Nappa on Vegeta's banner, the Great Ape Vegeta. And then let's just say you make a, let's see. Let's just say you make a really strong support Piccolo unit or something along those lines. Support, you know, Kid Gohan or another support Krillin or something. You know, you could obviously make it work. Oh, how about this? How about a support Yajirobe? That's perfect, right? I mean, he's the one who cuts off Vegeta's tail. I mean, that would be perfect. Oh, yeah, that's what I'm going with right there. A support Yajirobe and then a support Nappa. Obviously, we have the Nappa and the Vegeta, but we don't have a really, really strong Nappa in the game, like not even really close. I mean, you could say the TUR of the LR, Nappa, and Vegeta, which, by the way, is coming to global. You know, obviously a topic for another video, but just in case y'all are unaware, if you don't follow any of the Twitters or anything like that, he is coming to global. He should be dropping within the next few days. The Dokkan Twitter actually tweeted tweeted him out, which was really, really surprising. Truthfully, like I wasn't expecting anything. I thought that this was going to be the driest of dry periods in all of drydom. You know what I mean? Drier than the Sahara. It's usually how it goes every year. But there's a really, really interesting topic going around. The possibility of global catching up to JP, which I am definitely going to be making a video on. But as you saw, guys, LR Krillin, an absolute stud muffin on this full power team. I really, really enjoyed using him. He's actually quite fun to use. I like him a lot. So slap a like if you enjoyed this video. And of course, consider subscribing if you are new. I love you guys, and I will catch all of you in the next one. Later.